Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for September 26th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. We have an absolute phenomenal show lined up for you today. My boy, the host of the notorious OTB podcast, Chase. My co-host, along with Jim, Saturday morning on the College Football Tailgate is here. We're not talking college today. We're talking NFL. We'll look back at week 3. Share what bets we're locking in for week 4. As always, Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. And before we jump into all that, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, the Thrive Fantasy Sports. Make sure to download the Thrive Fantasy app. Use promo code ETOFT21 for a 100% deposit match. I will be making videos telling you the player props I'm parlaying together for Thrive. We hit 2 in a row. Unfortunately, we lost last night because for whatever reason, Baker wouldn't throw to Cade Otton when he was wide open. But we'll be back at it on Thursday. Make sure to check those out. If you're watching on YouTube, link to that is in the description below. Now, let's shift our attention up to Woodbine and see what our boy Gino has cooking for us this week with his horse racing bet of the day.
Best bet for this week will come on Thursday over at Woodbine. Let's dive into race number 3 and take a look where we'll go for our best bet. I'm going to look at the number 4 in here. This one is On and On and On. We can take a look at the race that this filly comes out of. She finished 5th. I thought she ran a little bit better than the running line might suggest. We could take a look at her in this replay that we're going to pull up. So she's the number 2 in the horse that we're in the race that we're watching here. On and On and On. What's going to happen? She has to push through from the inside. You could see she's down there. She's got the pink, like purplish sort of silks and the black cap. And she has to try to push her way up to the front because if she doesn't, she'll get stuck inside and shuffled all the way back. And she can't ever really make it all the way through. I think because of where she was drawn, she was sort of forced that day. See her down on the inside. She's trying to get through. She's trying to push through, and she just can't quite make it. Right about here, she has to take up. She gets shuffled back a little bit. She loses that inside positioning. And that was really the key for her. This was her first time against winners, and now she'll have to kind of shift out and re-rally. She tries to come on again, but the top 2 horses in here have separated. And we just don't see anyone else making up a whole ton of ground in here. She ends up finishing not far out of 3rd. You see her down on the inside. She's like a little green trying to switch leads there. And I think there's more upside with her. She's right in that photo for 3rd. She's going to end up finishing 5th with 2 horses run by her late. I thought it was a better effort than it might have looked on paper. So for me, she's the play. On and On and On. The number 4 in race number 3. On Thursday at Woodbine. She's 6-1 on the morning line, so if we can get anything 7-2 or above, I think that's fair value on her. Good luck tonight. Good luck to everyone each and every week, and make sure to tune in to Eric's show for the best info in all of sports.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. I'm on his podcast every single Friday talking NFL, NBA, college basketball, college football, you name it. I am there. Now, let's bring the man, the myth, the legend, my boy Chase, onto the show. Chase, how you doing, my man?
What's up, Uncle Rico? How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. Unfortunately, I had the Bucks last night. Mike Evans just decided to start dropping some passes. That was fun. And my Thrive bet was Puka over, which hit, and the boy Cade Otton over the 28.5 yards receiving, and for whatever reason Baker Mayfield just decided not to throw him the ball.
For me to win my fantasy matchup last night, I just I had a huge comeback with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, and I just needed Puka not to do anything. So I was completely on the wrong side of that one.
Hey, you know what? I'm telling you, the Bucks played a good first half. Mike Evans had some drops. He dropped a touchdown. That game was a little bit closer. I think the Eagles got 10 points off Jalen Hurts' turnovers. which is a little weird. I'll play that 5.5 every single day. Let's make the money. Really enjoy you guys in the college football Saturday morning show with Jim. Well, thanks for tuning in. That's a good segue. Was it 9:30 Eastern? Me, Chase, and Jimbo. We go through the whole betting card, and you will see me have a mini brain aneurysm when Jim starts talking about college football teasers. That's always really fun. That's always really fun. But before we jump into all the football stuff, Chase, why don't you tell everyone about your podcast when it comes out and what you cover and everything?
Yeah, it's the Notorious OTB on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is probably the only horse racing podcast out there with a close personal relationship with the hip hop culture. And it's every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we cover just whatever interesting sequences or races are going on for Friday, Saturday, other days in the weekend, and come in for the horse picks, stay for the sound drops.
I like it. I listen to it a lot. I definitely enjoy it. And XFL Jim, tease to please. Yeah, it's not a please to me. For those watching for the first time, basically what this is to start is we just kind of look back at the week before. We each have 2 takeaways. May lead to some future bets, may lead to some of us swearing, may go on some crazy tangents. But that's the thrill of the live show. Chase, why don't you kick us off? Tell us what your first takeaway of week 3 was.
It's going to be that the NFC South is even more wide open than I thought it was. Just dealing with Derek Carr's injury, that AC joint sprain is going to probably, I think, stick with him all season long because it's just such a finicky injury. Plus, I mean, I'm pretty certain it's his throwing shoulder. Like, how do you give it time to rest and heal? Or do you just not throw all week? And it doesn't look great. The Falcons are as good as Desmond Ridder is. And then the Bucks with Baker, who knows which Baker you're going to get throughout the year. If you were to ask me next week, I still couldn't tell you who's going to win the NFC South. And I pretty much had the Saints shoot in for it.
Winston time.
I love Jameis. So much.
Geez. My first one. Everyone forgot how good Jim Schwartz was. After being fired as the Lions head coach in 2014, he took over the Bills defense, made it one of the best in the league. Then he left, worked for the league for the year. 2016, he transformed the Eagles into one of the best defenses in the league and helped lead them to the Super Bowl. Then had some health concerns, stepped away. Well, guess who's back? Back again, my friend. Mr. Jim Schwartz. And the Browns, take a deep breath, everyone, best defense in the league. Browns are right now the best defense in the league. And he's doing stuff we've never seen before. I've never seen a defensive lineman go back and forth in motion, forcing the blocking to change. Like literally, Myles Garrett is going in motion, gets set, stands up, goes in motion, and he'll come back. It is absurd. He has the interior down, and in the ends, he has Smith and Garrett standing up. And the DBs are good too. My worry was the DBs. I thought the front 7 was nails. These DBs are insane. I'm pretty invested in these Cleveland Browns to make the playoffs, to win the North, to win the AFC, and to win the Super Bowl. I knew this defense was going to be good, but it is better than I thought. And I think they could have a special season in Cleveland if Deshaun doesn't mess it up.
We might have forgotten how good Jim Schwartz is, but I will never forget the either halftime or fourth quarter showdown he had with Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, on the way to the locker room. Yeah, ran him down. Like their shirts are being pulled up, stomachs are being slapped. It was epic.
Yeah, like I will say this though, like he does get a bad rap for his time with the Lions. But when he was there, he brought some structural control to him. He was a good segue coach. He was a little bit younger. I think this time around, if he does get a chance, it's going to be a lot more organized, a lot better. Yeah. And it's really rare we see a head coach get fired, go back to his DC, and break out new stuff. Vance Joseph. But that's another thing we could talk about later. No, but props to Jim Schwartz. He's looking good. Chase, what's your second takeaway?
I think that Nathaniel Hackett really might only have one trick. I think he's a one-trick pony, and his trick is that he knows how to speak Aaron Rodgers. And I think that if you put him with any other quarterback, whatever his offense is, does not work at all. You can tell that he does not have, granted, Zach Wilson has a part to play in this, but it feels a little bit evident that he has no idea what to do with Zach Wilson, and that he's not even trying anything new. He's just trying to force whatever Aaron Rodgers was good at onto this offense. And it is another failed Nathaniel Hackett experiment.
Kind of goes back to the Jim Schwartz thing. He was a head coach, went back, and he's just doing the same old stuff. You have to be able to tailor the offense to where the team is. We had a Vikings question in here. I'm going to bring it up real quick. Can the Vikings come back from being 0-3? Because the rumor I heard is this. If the Vikings lose to the Panthers, Cousins is traded to the Jets.
I would want to know what the Vikings expect to get in return. Like, are they looking for draft picks? Are they looking for actual players off the roster? Because I feel like the Jets would have to give up a whole lot for me to consider that trade to just say, okay, the season's a wash after 4 games.
But if you start 0-4, the season basically is a wash.
That's fair. Yeah.
And with the quarterback talent that's in this class, I mean, if you have a chance to get a May, Caleb Williams,
KJ Jefferson,
KJ Jefferson, Arkansas great. Why, you know what I mean? Why not just say, hey, you know what? Boom, we're gonna mail it in. We're gonna get one of those guys. I
wouldn't want like a conditional draft pick. Like, it would have to be like this is your first, no matter where your first lands. Like, because isn't that what landed Denver in trouble, was that they trade for Russ, they get a conditional draft pick, but because the Seahawks make the playoffs, they ended up losing out on the draft pick, I think is how that worked.
Yeah, basically that was it. And also, the flip side, Packers don't get the first rounder from the Jets because Rodgers got hurt.
Right.
The mind-boggling thing to really wrap your head around is this. What if the Bears have the worst record in the league? This is like next year. Decide, you know what? We don't want to give Fields the fifth year option. His salary is going to increase. He still has market value. What if we trade him to the Jets?
See, that would make more sense to me. And the reason being that Jets offensive line can't protect anybody. Like, what do they expect to be different with Kirk Cousins? Like, it's not like he's the most mobile guy. He's not going to be out there juking people and, pulling the ball down and running for 20. Like, he'll struggle to stay alive, just like Zach Wilson has and Aaron Rodgers did.
Yeah, I mean, that, to me, I'd rather have Fields than Cousins. I mean, I'll say it in that. Well, actually, no. I think it kind of depends who the OC is.
Right.
You want to get mine. Speaking of Fields, and then I'll go to my take. You want to get your head just completely blown away. Mac Jones has more RPOs this year than Justin Fields.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Also, guess what? Jared Goff, just as many rushing touchdowns. Jared Goff, just as many rushing touchdowns.
This is so frustrating when you're like, there had to be a plan here, but there's obviously no plan. Like, doesn't seem to be a plan.
Here's the thing. Jim Caldwell came in with a multi-year developmental plan for Justin Fields. And he said, no, you know what? We're going to go with Matt Eberflus, who couldn't come up with a defensive plan to stop the Jacksonville Jaguars in a must-win game.
Right.
That's the Chicago Bears right there.
Right.
That's the Chicago Bears. My takeaway, too, Bryce Young was benched, but the Panthers are trying to save face. He was ruled out with an ankle injury. So let me get this straight. Your number 1 draft pick has an ankle injury, and you have him standing on the sidelines in Seattle wearing a headset, walking around for 4 hours on a bad ankle.
No boot, no crutches.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear as day that he was benched. They're trying to save face by messing up, by not drafting Stroud. He's obviously not ready. Too small. He can't even run a quarterback keeper. He literally can't even run a quarterback keeper. They have to bring Dalton in. I think Wright realizes, like you said, the South is a little bit wide open. We have a decent defense as long as everyone's healthy. We have Miles Sanders. We have some good wide receivers. I think that Wright is realizing that, and that Dalton's the best guy for the job. And I'll say this: I tried to tell everybody CJ was better. I said CJ is the guy, but for every reason they went with Bryce Young. Now they're kind of stuck, and they're just trying to save face. He got benched in my eyes. What do you think about Bryce Young?
He kind of fits the Tua mold to me, but I'm not sure that he has the same kind of upside as Tua because he's not under just some offensive wonderkin like Mike McDaniel might turn out to be. I don't know. It seems, you go to Alabama, you play for the, at the time, best offensive line. You have the best wide receivers. And he was able to just kind of do like Johnny football kind of stuff. Like, I understand he's able to run plays and work in a structured offense, but I'm not sure if he's able to necessarily do it at the pro level. We haven't necessarily seen it, at least. It could be that he just needs to get his feet wet a little bit. And if that's the case, I think that he'll be a good starter. I'm not sure if he'll ever be like a superstar. He just, for one, seems a little bit too small, honestly. Yeah.
Small. I don't think he's it. I really don't think he's it. I think he's like a Colt McCoy type guy. Good locker room guy in the league for like 7 years just to back up.
Yeah.
I want to hear some Tua hate after last week. Look, all I'm going to say is this. This is all I'm going to say. You have Tyreek Hill, who is so fast. If the opposing team doesn't have a DB that can take up with him, my old ass could be back there throwing for 500 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
And Vance Joseph runs the archaic Y9. For those who don't know what the Y9 is, the tackles are here, and the D is lied outside the tackle. It opens up for zone running. Hence the big game by Mozart and Devi Achin. I swear to God, I will leave Tuanian for you know what. Friend of the show, XFL Jim, is a huge Tua guy. So you know what? I will keep my Tua hate to a minimum until I get to possibly one of my bets. Wink, wink. Which leads us. Oh, go ahead, my friend.
I will say, I kind of thought about making this one of my takeaways, that I think the Dolphins might be the fastest NFL team I've can ever recall seeing. Like, I can't think of any like collection of faster players than what the Dolphins have right now between Mostert, Waddle, Tua,
Achin. Like McDaniel wanted Achin too. He was like, hey, I want this kid.
Yeah.
The other stat is they're doing a good job protecting him.
Yeah.
Defense for the most part has played decent. A couple guys in the back have graded out pretty poorly though. And to me, the thing that stood out to me in that game, and like, I'll be the first to admit, I took the Broncos plus 6.5. I'll take that bet every day of the week. Was Van Joseph's arcaded Y9 system, ain't it? And the fact he wasn't fired absolutely amazes me. The fact that he still has a job today and he's going to be coaching this weekend. Let's look back at the bets. Rough week for the show last week. Special guest Kia. She hit the Chiefs minus the 12.5. Lost the Broncos the Cowboys minus 12.5 and the Falcons plus 3.5. I hit the Texans plus 9.5. You know what? I'm a little bitter about this because freaking LaFleur should have kicked the field goal when they're down 17-0. If that hits, I'm pretty sure I'll hit this. But I really feel if Carr didn't get hurt, the Saints would have won that game.
Probably. Yeah.
Broncos plus 6.5. You want to talk about a curb stomping, my friend.
Whew.
That was a curb stomping. For the bets part of the show, basically what's going to happen is Chase and I are going to alternate our 3 bets. As always, the guest leads off. Chase, why don't you lead us off and tell us what your first bet is?
I'm going to go with the Packers on the money line here against your Detroit Lions. Here's the deal. This is almost just like a system play for me. I've got a home dog within a touchdown spread, and I'm getting plus money on the money line. That's a play that I'm going to take absolutely every single time.
I love it. And the thing that's kind of stood out to me, and I think it's something we got to monitor moving forward, is when there's these quote unquote big Thursday games, team players resting. Like, did you see like Aaron Jones out, Jameer Alexander out, the offensive lineman Beckenary out? I think that's something we need to monitor because I kind of think LaFleur was like, hey, you know what? Even if we lose this game, we can lose this game, beat Detroit, and then we're 2-2, and we're no rest for the weary. So right. I kind of think that's something we need to kind of monitor. And we actually saw it when you think about it. We saw it 2 weeks ago. Swift hardly plays week 1, and he is the bell cow on Thursday night. So I kind of expect it. Oh, that's my dryer. My clothes are done, man. I think we should expect a big game for Aaron Jones, and also, you know what, Luke Musgrave. Lions really struggle covering the tight end. I'm actually going to be betting the Packers, as much as it pains me to say that. I absolutely love that bet. My next bet, and I'm sorry, Jimbo. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm selling on the Dolphins. I'm selling my Dolphin stock. They played against the worst DC in the NFL last week in Vance Joseph. I'm selling the Fins because this is the highest they've ever valued. They just scored 70 points. Teams that start off 3-0 and are 3-0 ATS are 42.3% ATS in week 4. Teams 3-0 ATS that are road dogs. Are you ready for this number? 12.5% against the number. Teams that won by 38 points or more, they won by 50. 41.4% ATS the following week. Teams after scoring 40 points or more are only 46.8% ATS. Let's look back at the Fins game. Let's look back at them. Week 1, Chargers game, that was whoever had the ball last. Whoever had the ball last was winning that game. Week 2 against the Pats. Pats had 6 drives that resulted in 6 drives that went into the Fins territory that resulted in 3 points. There could easily be a world where the Fins are going to this game 1-2. This is arguably the best defense and the best offense the Fins have played. Kuo has graded out great in the back 4, but I really think Josh Allen is going to be able to take advantage of Eli Apple and Xavier Howard. Gabe Davis is back. I really think they're going to look to exploit them. I'm getting him here at 2.5 under a field goal. I'm taking the Bills.
I mean, I feel like it should be written on like a stone tablet somewhere that after a NFL football team scores 70 points, you should 100% bet against them the following week, because there's no way, like, everything will be line wise will be slanted towards that team way closer than it should be. Like, you're a fan of the, like, you should probably go ahead and bet against the Dolphins at that point after putting up more points than anyone has scored in like 60 years.
Dude, it was insane how much And the funny part was they still had whatchamacallit Wilson playing.
Yeah.
And I have a couple questions in here. Vrabel as a dog, let me guess. Uncle Rico, are you taking your boy Vrabel as a dog at home? Those that watched last week, you know what? It's a running joke here, Chase. I'm always on Mike Vrabel anytime he's a dog. I was on the Browns last week. I was on the Browns. Line's 2.5 right now. If it gets to 3, I'm waiting for a 3. Once it gets to 3, I'm going to lock it in. But at 2.5, I would still take it. Our boy Sports Facts, which wide receiver from the Chargers should I pick up? I would say Jordan Palmer.
Okay.
What about you? Should we go Palmer or Quentin Johnson? What do you think?
You know, that's tough because who all is out there? I mean, they're the obvious things. Like if for some reason you're playing in a league where like Keenan Allen or Mike Williams are out there, then obviously
Williams is done for the year. Williams tore his ACL.
Well, if Keenan Allen's out there, of course you're going to pick him up. I think Palmer's probably the better pickup. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I'll give you the buy low, sell high angle. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Thanks. Week 2. What are we working with, my man?
All right. I'm going to go with my second bet. I'm taking the Texans +3 here with your boy CJ Stroud. I heard an interesting stat this week that I want to say CJ Stroud had the 4th highest QBR ever against the blitz this week, which was something that was a little bit of a knock against him. We got the Texans going against the Steelers, and the Steelers are going to bring heat. If he's learned how to pick up the blitz, then I think that he has a good chance to have a pretty good game. Not to mention just how terribly anemic this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is. They've had a couple little glimmers when they can kind of get the ball to George Pickens occasionally, but it seems like they're not even looking his way most of the time. I just feel way more confident in the Texans' ability to score points than I do in the Pittsburgh Steelers' ability to score points.
I agree. Our former CMU great Antonio Brown tweeted out, Matt Canada needs to go to Canada.
Okay. Fair enough.
Steelers on a short week. They've really struggled establishing the run. You can run on them with no Hayward. Dell and Nico Collins has looked great. Obviously, friend of the show, Spear22. Dude, didn't check out the Waiver Wire Tuesday article that was posted every Tuesday morning. The wide receiver to pick up, number 1 on the list, was Tank Dell.
Great minds, man. I didn't even know about the article, and I picked up Tank Dell last week.
Yeah, he was on it the week before, too. So I absolutely love I love Tank Dell. Definitely would pick him up. Love this Texans bet, too. And I'm pissed because I got an alert on my phone that at one book it went to 3.5. Went to bet it. Got a phone call I had to take. By the time I got off the phone call, which was 5 minutes, it was back to 3. So hopefully another 3.5 pops. If not, I'm fine taking the 3. And yes, let's make some money. This is a Falcons and Texans stream all the way. Falcons and Texans stream all the way. My next bet is I'm going to the north. And you know what? Buying low, selling high. I'm selling on my brownies. I love this Cleveland Browns team, or the Elves, as Jamar Chase calls them. Lamar Jackson, as a dog in his NFL career. Are you ready for this? 11-1 ATS.
Whew.
As a road dog, 8-1. Stefanski against teams in the North. 6-14, 30% ATS. As a favorite in the North, only 2-8, 20%, small sample size. Favorite in general, 11-19, that's 36.7% ATS. Stefanski historically doesn't, because he just runs the ball. He won't throw it. He'll just, once he gets a lead, he'll just sit on it. I was able to get this 3 on the offshore shop bookmaker. Don't get it twisted. I love this Browns team, heavily invested in the futures. But I say it all the time, buying low, selling high. You have the Ravens who are coming off losing to the Colts. The Browns coming off looking like $1 million against the Titans. Ravens are only giving up 200 yards passing per game. I think they'll be able to limit Watson. Flip side, they're the 8th best team in the league defending the run. I think they're going to be able to limit the Browns' rushing attack. We need to remember, Browns have banged up on the offensive line. Also, Hunt, Ford, and Strong. Those are the guys that they are counting on to produce. And I think after last week, I think we're going to see Lamar use his feet a little bit more. I think we're going to see him looking to run a little bit more. And we have to remember, Burrow was banged up in week 1. Obviously not 100%. I was actually shocked the Bengals played him last week. I thought they were going to shut him down just because long-term you have to think about him.
Yeah.
This is going to be the best quarterback the Browns have played. He's going to be able to extend the play when Smith and Garrett get home. I like the Ravens here. Give me the +3, man. Just give me the divisional dog. I'm getting 3. I got to do it. I got to do it. And I texted my boy who's a Ravens fan. And I just texted, now you know how it feels being like all of us when Justin Tucker missed that kick. Because he sent me a message, said game. That's all he said. Game.
Yeah.
Game.
So
Ravens. And then I replied, now you know how it feels to be everyone else in the NFL.
Yeah, so Ravens fans who feel wronged by that loss, thinking that Justin Tucker was definitely going to make that kick, you know who to direct your ire towards Uncle Rico's friend, who's also a Ravens fan, for mushing that.
Oh my God, every time, good. Like even before he kicks it, good. Good. Like I'll just be getting random text messages on a Sunday. Good. Like I'm like, oh, Ravens are kicking a field goal.
Right.
Third and final bet, my friend.
You know me, I like to play totals, and traditionally I'm have alternate egos. The unders taker, a new one I just came up with last night on the gymnasium. Carrie Underswood. I'm going with an over. I'm playing a total here. I'm playing an over. Dolphins Bills. I'm taking over 53.5. I feel like that's right in the sweet spot. I could easily see this being like a 31-28 type game, or a 27-28 type game. So I think that this is a criminally low total to take advantage of, because it's not like both of these teams can't score points.
Yeah, I like that. I think there's going to be some points in that one. Raj, thoughts on the Dolphins? Can this offense keep performing? I'm going to say no. I think Patriots kept them in check for the most part. They have to play the Bills twice. Still have to play the Jets, who have a good defense. I think we're going to kind of see them, because you kind of look at their broad picture. If you look at their stats when they played the Chargers, when they played the Patriots, and when they played the Broncos, obviously when they played the Broncos and Chargers, they put up a lot. I know Mozart got his, but Tyreek Hill was kind of held in check. Tua was kind of held in check. I think we're going to see it kind of go back to the norm.
Yeah, I think that their performance is so much just kind of health dependent. It's health dependent on Tua, and I think it's health dependent on Tyreek Hill, because I think Tyreek Hill is what really opens everything up. And when I say opens everything up, I mean, I don't think that there's anyone within 10 yards of him most of the time. And it's because they're all shading and doing different things to try to avoid, letting Tyreek go over the top. And it just leaves so much open for him.
Yeah. If you take Tyree out, I mean, Jesus, dude. I mean, that's really going to limit what they can do. And then also Jalen Waddle, he's a little banged up. I think we're going to see it come back. And then also Jeffrey Wilson, once he comes back, that's a 3-headed running attack. I think there's a lot of mouse to feed, and that could be a down part also for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
My last bet, I'm going to the north, going to the AFC East. I'm taking it's water, Bobby. I'm taking the Patriots +7. Patriots are one of the better defenses in the league. Now they'll be playing a Cowboy team that could be potentially without not 1, not 2, but 3 starters on the offensive line. I said it during the NFC East breakdown. So Hora's line historically struggle. He's their offensive line coach. Struggle in pass blocking. And I think the Patriots will have a huge advantage here. I think they're going to be able to get home and make Dak uncomfortable. And everyone talks about how good this Cowboys defense is. They've given up the 8th most rushing yards so far in the season. You're going to be able to run on them. Ezekiel Elliott, Stevenson, you're going to be able to run on this team. You're going to be able to move the ball that way and keep them off the field. The DB they drafted, oh my God, the kid from Oregon, he's been lights out. This kid he's done well against Tyreek Hill, done well against AJ Brown. He is going to be able to blanket CeeDee Lamb. And we saw Dak, when he can't get the ball to CD, we saw against the Cardinals, this offense struggles. It struggles a lot.
Yeah.
Last week against the Cardinals, they gave up 222 yards rushing to the Arizona Cardinals, dude. That was the second most in the week. Diggs is out. You look at the production when he's out versus when he's in, this defense just doesn't do it. And this mind-boggling thing I heard in terms of fantasy point production, and if you have the Dallas defense, you may want to earmuff this. All the points that they have scored, he's responsible for 48% of them.
Right.
So I think this defense is going to take a step back. I think we're going to see Mike McCarthy struggle calling plays. I have Bill Belichick, who's 62% ATS. I think 7 is just way too many points. And I'm going to say this. We can make an argument the Patriots could be 3-0.
Yeah.
They had those 2 turnovers to start the game against the Eagles. Then they dominated the second part of the game in position to win. In position to win, they 6 trips inside the Dolphins' end, only got 3 points. Chance to win at the end, got a bad spot. And then they obviously just beat the Jets. I really like the Patriots here. Anything over 7. Our boy Cool Kev chimes in. What up, Cool Kev? Thanks for tuning in. That's it. And always a pleasure talking to my boy Chase.
Yeah, man.
Chase,
thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell everybody the good old social media schedule this week, my friend?
Yeah, first you can always find me on Twitter, being abrasive. That's at of Oaklawn. And then also you can follow the podcast at notorious_OTB. And that new episodes will be out tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, just like every week of the pod. And then, of course, I'm with Uncle Rico and the Big Galoot Gym on Saturday mornings, which if it wasn't fun, I would not wake up at 8:30 on a Saturday morning for it.
Cool Kev chiming in with one quick question.
Oh yeah. We'll be. I will. I know I'll be talking Breeders' Cup. That's for sure. That's like Super Bowl, man.
Yes, I may get some breeder stuff going on. Make sure to give my boy Chase a follow. Also, guys, we talk college for like an hour. If you like, we shit talk each other. Chat room is live, going back and forth. Jim talking teasers, which drives me crazy. Give out a money line round robin, which is always fun. I'll have some big dogs. I'll probably be on Auburn this weekend, which absolutely drives me crazy. Dave, thanks for checking up, my man. And we'll be back here next week, same time, same channel. And next week's special guest is Dave Weaver from FanDuel TV.
Really?
Yeah, Davey Boy stopping by. So make
Mr.
sure
Ice Cold himself. All right.
Ice Cold coming on. So make sure to check that out. Let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets. Best of luck to all your bets. And we'll see everyone next week.